All right, guys, quick interruption for the podcast. If you guys are questioning what workouts you should be doing every day, I got a solution for you. Go to my site right now, bradleymartin.com. Sign up. There's daily workouts every single day. There's a ton of ebooks. There's a ton of stuff on there for you guys to use. You guys are looking to change your body, change your life, feel better, look better, be stronger, whatever it is. Go to bradleymartin.com. Let's get back into this podcast.
Are you in a plane?
It's like a scorpion chair where the screens are hung in front of me from above.
Holy. Okay, I actually have seen one of those. I've seen one of those before. Are you a big gamer?
Now and again, it's more for my son. He is a big gamer, so
yeah. You're not a big gamer. It's not. I figured that was something you do.
A little bit, yeah. I like Call of Duty. I just don't get the time. If I had the time, I would.
I get
a
you.
lazy Sunday. I'll have a bash on Call of Duty now and again. Yeah,
I get it. So how you been, man? I haven't seen you for a long time. Thank you for taking this call. How's life?
Yeah, no, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Bloody hell, when's the last time we saw each other? Probably was that it's probably the World's Strongest Man.
Yeah,
Sacramento. Was it?
Yes, yeah.
Was that 2022?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say.
I think that was. Yeah. I think that was right before you fought Thor. I think, or it was either right before or right after.
Probably sounds about so 22. Yeah, sounds about right.
So I guess I mean, obviously, bro, you've done so much different. Obviously, the World's Strongest Man stuff is like the kind of like the cornerstone of what you've done. What do you enjoy the most of what you've done? Like, did you like the boxing stuff? Obviously, the World's Strongest Man, you did the longest.
Yeah. I mean, I love competing in strongman. I just love the testing it put your body through. The sort of weekly PBs and progressing your body every single week. I guess what I loved is pushing the human body to the absolute limit. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing that, like training every week, day in, day out, just pushing myself to the absolute extreme of the extremes, to get these insane little moments of victory and self-worth, like the 500 kilo deadlift and winning the World's Strongest Man. That's winning the World's Strongest Man was 15 plus years of hard, solid graft in the gym. Just for that one special day where you compete at World's Strongest Man and win a big gold trophy.
Yeah, man. I mean, bro, I'll never forget when I first seen you. I think it was when I first seen you were like, not in real life, but pictures of you. I think it was when you were like above 400 pounds.
Yeah, yeah.
And you just like, you like had this like, almost like balloon look. You were so big. You were huge.
I was cepheric. There's an image of me after an event at Giants Live that was taken. And I just feel that I'm stood next to a normal guy who's 6 foot tall and, probably a good 240 pounds ish. And he stood next to me. And I'm just that ballooned in the shoulders and arms, and my head is absolutely ginormous. It honestly looked like somebody had drawn me. Like, it just looked so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at my peak, I was 433 pounds at 6 foot 2 and a bit height.
That's what I always found out really impressive about you. You were competing with these guys who were, essentially some of the best strongmen are like, they're like 6'8". They're just 6. They're tall. They're massive. You always competed like as a smaller, not that you're short by any means, but for that game, you were one of the shorter ones.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think when I won, I think it was the shortest in the final, barring Nick Best. I think it was the second shortest. And you're completely right. And from personal experience, I always find the taller people just tend to be stronger. They just have to put as much effort in. They're just stronger. They've just got longer levers, more muscle mass. They just tend to be stronger people. That's just the way the world works. These big 7 foot basket players, they might look tall and stringy, but I'm telling you now, they will be majorly strong.
Yeah. If they put the mass on, if they obviously put the training towards it. So you've had a lot of like, I was Googling you and I was like, nah, this isn't true. Did you actually ever injure your? Like you've had a lot of injuries.
So, so I did. Yeah, no, I did. I think I was only young, like 19, maybe 21. And at the gym I went to, I had these steel plates, like a good old school gym. Used to have the old cast iron plates. And on the leg press, I used to fill the hammer strength leg press. It'd be like a 2-tier leg press.
Yeah.
And I'd always fill it, like stack it. And I suppose at that age, you're a little bit showy offy. So I always make sure I'd slam the plates on really fucking hard, just so it made an echo around the gym. You do with steel plates.
Classic gym bro.
It is, yeah. And I say I was just doing a set, slamming these plates on, doing a set, slamming these plates on. And then I did a set, adding some more weight on, went to slam it, and there was no dink. And my dick, I must have been stood too close. My dick was just like an inch, just sort of trapped it. And me, the blood that came out of my shorts was surreal. So yeah, I did.
Wait. What is the recovery like? Did your dicks like not work after that for a while, or like?
I mean, I was going through a period where working the doors, had a lot of I don't know what you call them, affairs. I slept with a lot of girls at that age, and yeah, I think it was a real hurtful time in my life because I couldn't have sex for probably about 3 months. It was a right mess. I had to go to the hospital and get stitches.
Oh, there were stitches on your dick.
I
wonder what that recovery's probably nuts, man.
It wasn't nice. Yeah, it wasn't nice.
Yeah.
And every time you got a hard on, it would like rip open and everything. So.
Nice. Okay. What's your worst injury of all time?
Ooh,
because the strongman shit's so. I mean, as far as sports go, like things that are difficult and chances of injury, that has to be like the highest level of like your chances of injury are like way up.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I would agree with you, but I'd say most of my injuries, my worst injuries, have come after strongman. I would say, I've had, when I say hundreds, I probably have had hundreds of tears, like muscle tears in the pecs, the triceps, the biceps, all through my strongman career. I think the only thing that I actually tore off the bone were they call them the volar plates. They're like the little ligaments that hold your fingers together. I tore 2 of those.
How the f do you tear that?
Picking up a barrel. 2016, World's Strongest Man. It was like the day before the competition. They let you just feel the kit, and I went to pick it up and just snapped all the tendons off 2 fingers. But that, honestly, God, I think that is the only injury in strongman that I've ever torn anything off.
So everything else is like something where you're just around.
Yeah, I think so. The worst thing I did, and I wasn't very vocal about it because it was a real dark point in my life. Really, it was about a month and a half, 2 months after I won the World's Strongest Man. I dropped, 6 to 12. I dropped about 24 kilo in the space of about 3 months.
Holy.
Yeah, I really just shredded weight off me really quick. But I kept doing the same weights. So I was still, deadlifting 500 kilo, still squatting 350 kilo for reps. And I did this hack squat, and this hack squat machine, I used to fill it out completely. I used to get a bar balanced across the top. I used to fill the bar out. It was just so over the top. It was like well over 400 kilo in this sort of hack squat. And I went in, did a rep, failed the second rep, and rather than like think, oh no, that's fine, walk away, like an idiot, I went back in at the bottom and picked it up and stood up, and my right hip dislocated, so my right hip came out the socket, and I just remember that crunching sound, and I was like, oh, didn't think nothing of it, and then I sort of walked off around the gym, and then just like after about 2 minutes, all the pain kicked in. And the hip had come out, and as I'd walk around, it went back in. And the pain, man, like all the scans, basically when it rips out the socket, all the socket breaks, all the tendons and ligaments around that just get shredded. And I basically lost the feeling down my right leg completely. Put me in a wheelchair. And then I'd say 2 weeks in a wheelchair. Then I had to learn to walk again. I had to just have like really intense physiotherapy and just get back to where I was. And it took me, I'd say it was a good year until I was able to walk normally.
Just walk. What about lifting? How did it affect the lifting?
Well, just any bottom half I couldn't really do. Like anytime I did any squats or deadlifts.
But as far as you're coming back to be able, like, the sort of strength that you may have had prior to that injury, is the strength back?
Yeah, the strength's back now. It took me a long time. I say about 2 years until I was back to the strength that I was, like world's strongest man strength level. It took me a couple of years to come back from it.
Yeah, you said earlier before you started giving this explanation, it was a low point in your life. Was that because that was why it was a low point in your life, or something else was going on?
No, that was a low point. Yeah, just because of the injury. I mean, when you've been like a full-time athlete like myself for so many years, and then that's snatched from you, like you can't even go to the gym. That hit me hard. Just not being able to go to the gym and just vent, because that's what the gym is to us. It's more of a it's like going to church. You just go to vent and get your frustrations out, and then you feel good. And I didn't have that for quite a long time, so that really me up.
Yeah. When did you first recognize that part of the gym for you? Like, what was the thing that kept you in the gym that made you be like, this is like this, I want this to be my life? And then obviously it turned into the rest of your life.
So I don't know if you're aware of this, but I was a national champion swimmer when I was very young, like 10 years old. I was the best swimmer.
Crazy change. Such a crazy change of pace.
Best swimmer in the country, setting British records, and I was put onto basically the GB squad. So I was on the junior Olympic team to be an Olympic champion. That's what this program was designed for. And basically, I just didn't agree with the system. Ended up doing too much training, ended up getting worse, getting slower times, and eventually just told my coach to go himself. I was like, I've had enough of this, and left. And I was 13 at the time. And then literally 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, just had crippling anxiety, like absolutely crippling. Couldn't leave the house some days, couldn't go to school. And it just got progressively worse. And then it ended up with depression because the anxiety just put all these horrible thoughts in. I was on Prozacs, seeing a psychiatrist. I was really, really fucked up in a real dark point in my life. And then I'd say mid 14 years of age, after being on Prozacs and whatever for a year and a bit, is my mum and dad sort of said to me, like, what the f are you doing with yourself? You need to get out the house and just go and do something, go to the gym. And that's when I joined the gym. Whilst all my pals were at school, I was expelled from school. Whilst all my pals were at school, I went to the gym. And within the space of a couple of months, started to feel good with myself. Every time I went to the gym, I walked out and I just got this feeling of self-worth. Like the euphoria comes over you, like when you go for a run and you just get this like huge rush of endorphins. And that pretty much solidified it for me that I've got to go to the gym, X amount of times a week for the rest of my life to keep the demons at bay.
Yeah. So it was because you stopped that path that you thought was for you, right? Like you thought the swimming thing was for you. And then because you didn't go that way, you were like kind of lost. Is that why it started that whole cycle?
Yeah. So I had a very severe ADHD. And I didn't know it at the time. And one of the best cures for kids with ADHD is sport. So unbeknown to me, I was sort of counteracting the ADHD effects by the swimming training.
I get it.
So when the swimming training stopped, it was like all this energy was all pent up. I didn't know what to do. And I started to have the anxiety. And it just really me up, like really, really bad. And then when I started doing weights, it started to disperse again, like just putting my focus into something rather than doing nothing and just being all pent up. So that, I guess that was, and it wasn't really that thing back then. If you talked about ADHD, it was like, what's that? No one even knew what it was. It wasn't until we were older, we're like, that's why I was such a, one of these kids that spoke before he thought and acted before he thought. And some of the stuff I did was just ridiculous. But now you look back and it's like, right, it was ADHD. Now it makes sense.
For sure, bro. It's crazy how the gym is just really the thing that cures so many issues. Like not in the immediate, but like over time can fix so many things for so many people. I just wish more people would do it. You know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 100%. It's,
so some question for you, strongman related. What do you think are the best supplements that you've ever taken? And I know it's not necessarily going to be like specifically for strongman, because it could be applicable to pretty much most lifters. But just coming from someone as such as yourself, what do you think are the best supplements that someone can take for strength, for performance to be at that level?
All right, guys, quick interruption for the podcast. Transcend Company. So a lot of people message me and ask me really often about like the supplements and stuff that I take. Lately, I've been really a huge fan of VPC 157, and I've gotten all this stuff from Transcend. Their quality of all their stuff is top notch. Like everything is pharmaceutical, everything is like FDA compliant, everything is like above board, really amazing. Lately, besides the BPC 157 for inflammation, because my knee had been giving me such a problem and it just kind of made me avoid squatting in general, even though I promised like I wasn't just avoiding it in general, it's because my knee was actually up. But also something I've been really into lately has been NAD plus and glutathione. All these things you guys can get from Transcend, along with TRT, along with tons of other peptides, tons of other things that you guys might be interested in. Give it a shot if you guys want to. I promise you, whether you're taking TRT or peptides or supplements or anything, if you're just trying to feel better, you're trying to look better, you're trying to be better, you need to know this stuff. It's so important. And Transcend is a really easy way to do it. Go to transcendcompany.com/RAWTALK to get 15% off if you're a first-time customer. Go give it a shot. I literally cannot recommend this enough. Get your blood work done. Do not wait. I cannot recommend it enough. Transcendcompany.com/RAWTALK. First time, 50% off. Do it right now. Let's get back into this podcast.
I think, I mean, there's so many supplements on the market. I'd say 80% of them are just not worth taking. You know, I just think keep it simple. I think if I were to go back in time, it would just be a little bit of creatine. I'd probably take a hell of a lot more protein with essential amino acids. But other than that, I just wouldn't bother with anything else really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how like, I mean, it makes sense, right? Any market that can like capture and like just sell stuff to sell stuff is like always going to do well. But it's funny, I've been having that conversation about creatine lately. It's like one of the best supplements that has like the most studies, has been around the longest, is super cheap. You can, you know, they don't like, no one counterfeits it. But it was funny when we were kids, everyone was like, it was steroids. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
it's such an interesting thing how it's like, now it's like, oh, this is actually one of the best supplements nootropically and just physically, it's the best thing you could be doing.
No, I remember it had that stigma on it. And I remember buying it when I was like 14 and bringing it home. And my mum straight away, well, what's this?
You're like, I'm taking steroids.
Yeah, pretty much. Might as well have been in her eyes.
Do you talk about the steroid stuff ever?
No, I don't. I mean, look, we all know it goes on.
Yeah.
And I think there's some people out there that do a really good job at sort of making it healthy and safe. But look, if it was down to me, like personally, I would rather every single sport was just 100% doped. And we just want to see what the human potential can be naturally.
Yeah.
Obviously it's there, and I think it's got some great uses. And if it's used sensibly, it can be actually very, very beneficial to your health.
Yeah.
And if abused, it can be very detrimental to your health.
Yeah, just like anything, man. So you lie on the side of like, could just let everyone compete with like whatever they can to compete at the highest level.
I mean, that's what pretty much goes on, isn't it?
It is unironically, right? But it's the thing that's like the whole taboo, like, no, he's not, he is though, he is. It's stupid because it is happening. It's just like,
of course
I agree. I think there should be, you know, someone should be aware of the health concerns that are involved in it. Obviously, I think the problem with that, not even so much a problem with what you said, but I think the scary part about that is like, then you have kids that maybe are not, you know, maybe that might be their goal, the thing that they really want to do, but maybe that's not where they're going to end up. And then they end up getting in this vicious cycle of like the steroid use because of the goal where they think they want to go. And then it's just like, you just got a bunch of random kids on steroids who like, you know, are not knowing any better except they want to be a professional XYZ.
No, yeah, exactly. And the UK is probably one of the worst countries in the world for it. I think it's just so readily available over here. It's not even, I mean, I'm not sure on the laws on it, but I think you can possess it. It's like legal to possess. It's just illegal to sell. And of course, that just puts it in a real grey box, doesn't it? So if you get caught with it, it's like you just get a slap on the wrist, don't sell it on, but you're allowed to do it. And because of that, there are people left, right, and center in the gyms taking steroids at like, the second they step in the gym at 16.
Yeah, that's
it's obscene. It's absolutely obscene. And I see and hear it everywhere I go. It's absolutely nuts.
So if you were to give advice, like for example, to your son or to some younger lifter, if they were like dead set on saying, because it would be, it's hypocritical for you, it's hypocritical for me to be like, don't ever do this. And I always debate this. It's like, and I kind of have an answer, but I want to hear yours. What age would you say that like you could do this if you absolutely were like dead set on this is what I want to do with my life? Where are the consequences?
I don't think it's about age. I think it's about being sensible with the science. I think there's a certain parameters with testosterone that you've got to stick to. And if you go above those parameters, it can be detrimental. For instance, do you know I am Bibby, the strongman?
Yeah. Yes.
So like he's natural and he is absolutely obscene. Like the numbers he puts above his head, like 230 kilo log press, 230 kilo, 220 kilo axle press, just presses it above head like it's nothing. And so he's got the sort of genetics to obviously have great testosterone. And there are kids that are taking gear at 16, 17, 18 that don't need to take it, because what they're doing is they've got this great testosterone and then they start injecting testosterone that's pretty much equals it. And then their testosterone dies. And then when they come off testosterone, they've got nothing because this stays the same. So, And I think that there are genuinely people out there that can have good testosterone into their late 20s, early 30s. Like it can just stick there and they never need to do it. And what's the point in putting more in when it just kills that if you've got good testosterone? I mean, for instance, I took my dad to a TRT doctor here in the UK.
Yeah.
And, he's in his 60s. And I thought, he's looking not frail, but I just thought to myself, hey, you'd probably do with a test now. He's getting into mid 60s. So we took him down and this TRT doctor was like, I wouldn't touch it. He said, your testosterone's perfect. He said, it's right within the middle of the range. He said, if I gave you TRT, probably be a little bit healthier, but then you're going to shut down your natural testosterone and you're on that for the rest of your life, basically. So I think some people have just got that natural gift,
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't, well, for the ones who don't, for the ones who don't,
for the ones that don't, yeah, you've got to go get the test. Like you've got to see where your testosterone's at. If you're feeling like you're sleeping, like your moods are like you're depressed, you've got anxiety, whatever else, go and get the test. And if you've got low testosterone, I'd always seek advice. I would never just stab in the dark, always go off a blood test and see where your testosterone's at.
Yeah, 100%. The blood testing is paramount. I think that's the most important thing in this whole process. Specifically, even if you're not going to do it, getting your blood test to know where your levels are at. And then specifically when you do it, you have to be regularly testing your blood as well to see where your levels are at and how everything else is affected. So every time I have these conversations, I just like to bring that up because I don't want kids to watch it and just be like, I'm going to take testosterone. Like you said, the most important thing is knowing what the fuck is going on. And I just hope everyone heeds that advice, because I know no matter what we say as far as doing it or not doing it, people think about it, they question it, they're going to do it. It is what it is. But besides that topic, I saw a video of you beating up like two like short people or something in the octagon. How does that come about? Like what?
So I actually had a contract under my nose probably this time last year, maybe a bit earlier this time last year. And it was to fight Brian Shaw, Mitchell Hooper, and Martyn Ford in an MMA match, a 4-way MMA match in Qatar.
4-way?
Yeah, so 2 would fight, and then the winner from each fights each other.
In the same day.
in the same day.
Holy.
Yeah.
Wait, so who was going to fight first?
It was me versus Mitchell, Brian Shaw versus Martyn Ford, and then the winner against each other.
In the same day. Wow.
Same night.
Bro.
Yeah.
The same night.
Yeah.
That's something I would love to, bro. But fighting Brian Shaw, because how tall are you again?
At 6'2", and
bro, you're a
he's
psychopath. You are a psychopath.
6'8".
Like you don't give a fuck.
I don't
care.
No.
Dude, it's so because like obviously you're strong as fuck. There's no denying that, and I know you can compete with the best of them. But these guys are like they're the same in that sense, and then they're like they have so much leverage on you.
Yeah.
You just don't give a.
No.
Yo, I love that.
Spent my whole life going up against the Goliaths, you know?
Yeah.
Same in strongman. So it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, you definitely wash Martyn Ford, and you definitely wash what was the other guy's name?
Mitchell Hooper.
Mitchell, yeah, you got both those guys. Brian, you'd have a harder time with. I just think
I kind of agree with that. Just because I mean the MMA aspect, it's the mauling. You know, if you get on the ground with Brian, that's an uphill battle.
Yeah. Because you did the strictly boxing, but man, the MMA. So why did it not work out?
So I mean, it ended up in the end. We all signed contracts for multi-million deals, and then I think like 2 months before, it just all fell to I don't know what got exposed. The guy who organized it was a fraudster, or the Qatar government pulled out. We honestly I still haven't got the answer.
Yeah,
it just all fell. Yeah. So anyway, off the back of that, I carried on training. So I was like, "Fuck this!" I really enjoyed the ground game. Really enjoying the MMA with the 4-ounce gloves. I was like, "This is more me."
Yeah.
You know, just being able to smash elbows in and everything. So I carried on training, and then during that period, two little kids, I don't know what to call them, they were from Poland. People kept sending me clips like these two calling me out, saying stuff about me, and I was just like, they sent them a message. I was like, look, guys, just do us a favor, keep my name out your mouth, or I'll sort you out. And somehow within 2 weeks, I had a contract under my nose, and I was fighting them both in MMA. So that's how that happened, basically.
Yeah, that was one of the funniest clips I've ever seen. I just saw it pop up on my feed, and I was like, of course Eddie is doing this. He's just smacking these kids. What is that federation like? Is that just some like, it reminds me of MMA when not MMA. It reminds me of the UFC when it first came out. It was just the odd ass like,
Pride. It's just like a made up federation. I think it was the first show they did. So yeah, it was no rules really. We just had a bit of an agreement between ourselves. I wasn't allowed to physically follow him with any slams, but other than that, anything went.
Yeah. Do you plan to do more fighting stuff?
Yeah, so I'm literally, I think, on the verge of fighting Mariusz Podnoski. I'm just hoping to get a contract.
The older strongman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the iconic guys back in the day, man.
So I mean, he won World's Strongest Man 5 times. He's the most anyone's ever won it. And he's been doing MMA for 16 years.
How old is he? He's got to be like,
I think he's 47.
Yeah, almost 50.
Yeah.
I just never forget those photos. This is like when I first started really getting into lifting and strongman. I was like, I remember seeing that guy where he's like, he's holding the 2 things at his side. And I was like, this is how I want to look.
And he's ripped, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in shape.
Did you have any like people who inspired you when you were coming up? Because we're similar age.
Yeah, I think honestly, like just getting into strongman, Terry Hollands from the UK was one that sort of pulled me in. He was a British strongman. I think he came 3rd at World's Strongest Man. I think he's done that twice. And then when I actually got into strongman, believe this or not, Brian Shaw became one of my heroes and someone I really aspired to, sort of catch up and be on the same level as. So those were my heroes in strongman, really, Terry and Brian. And then we've got Sejuna Savickas, who's just been like an antique, just like part of strongman for such a long time.
Yeah. When you fought Thor, was it like real beef?
Oh yeah, it was real beef.
Why does everyone have beef with Thor?
Why? Who else has beef with Thor?
Well, no, I thought Shaw kind of had like some beef with Thor.
No, I think, look, it's just something that we've got between ourselves. He he's got some problems with the way Will Strongest Man work, I think.
Yeah.
And he threw some accusations that there was some cheating going on when I won the Will Strongest Man, and it just threw a load of shit on my win, you know, and it really hurt me career wise. And it was just a thing to do from a so-called friend, you know, and we were mates at the time, and then it just went south, and we just never really seen eye to eye since.
Yeah, I get it. That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, you know. I used to like Thor, you know, like he's been around my house. We've had parties. We've traveled the world together. I classed him as a good friend. I really did. And then I say, just got stabbed in the back.
Yeah, because did that come off of? Was one of his wins prior to that win?
No, so he won the World's Strongest Man the year after me. So it was like, you know, I think he saw it as like I took the title off him, you know, and he just didn't like it.
Yeah, I see. Well, you said when did your deadlift world record get broken? Because that was one of the biggest things that you had done as far as beyond strongman. Like you had that 1,000-pound deadlift that was like everyone was like, "What the?" I remember that. And then it got broke. What like a couple maybe like 3 years ago?
So I pulled it in 2016, 1,100 pounds.
And how old were you then?
Oh God, 2016.
Like mid-20s, no?
26.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
Bro, that's such an insane, like, how much did you weigh? Was this when you were like your heaviest though, no?
Oh, sorry, I was 28, sorry. How much, what, sorry?
How much did you weigh? You were heavy.
So when I pulled the 500, I was 186 kilos. So just like, I'd say 405 pounds, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm still a big guy.
The 1,000-pound deadlift is like, I remember that. I remember you hitting that and being like, what the f is going on? It's just such a nuts number.
It is. It's 500 kilo. So that was like the magic number. It's 1,100 pounds because no one ever anticipated anyone ever pulling 500 kilo. Like when you go back on the forums, you go back on the group chats, you used to see the sort of threads. Is anyone ever going to pull 500 kilo in our lifetime? And every single comment was no chance. Absolutely not. And then I came and broke the world record by 37 kilo in a day and did it.
And then it was broken, what, like a few years back, 2 years back, I think.
So Thor did 501 kilo. And there's a bit of controversy around that, you know, whether it should stand as official. I don't believe it should be stand as an official record. So there's,
why? Because of the way it was, like, on what platform?
Just the way it was done. Just the way it was done. It's hard to explain to people, but like he did it in his home gym. His dad weighed the plates. You know, he did it on his own time. Like who knows what went on? All I know is if I pulled a 500 kilo deadlift and my dad weighed the plates and it was in my basement downstairs in my house, everyone would be like, "Off, that doesn't count." So I don't understand why it's different from Thor, you know? It just a few things that no one else competed on the day. Just if anyone else just went up and like lifted the bar just to prove it wasn't fake, that would have satisfied me probably. The thing is with mine, like Benny Magnuson tried 500, Jerry Pritchett tried 500, and with Thor, he was the only one that touched that bar, nobody else. And it just, for me, for a competition, like it should be an open thing. Like anyone should be able to come and like say, "Hang on, let me just see if that's real," kind of thing. But it was enclosed. Every single person in that room was paid to see the success of that lift, and that I just think that's wrong.
I see what you're saying. Do you think you'd ever get like an MMA fight with Thor? Do you think he would ever do that?
I don't think he would.
Yeah, you would do it.
I'd do it. Yeah.
Oh, you're such, oh God, dude, you're such a savage. It's so funny. I love it. I got to come out to the UK. I want to train with you, man. Are you ever in LA?
Very rarely. I sometimes come out to Vegas now and again. You're not far from there, are you?
Super close. I'd love to get a session in with you, man, for sure.
Yeah, well, anytime you're over here, just hit me up. You got my number.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about diet stuff for you.
Okay.
When you dropped like majority of your weight, what were the key things that really helped you do that?
I would say the number one thing was walking. Sounds so simple, sounds so simplistic and daft, but just going for a walk, just once, twice a day, just going for a walk, that absolutely shredded the weight off me. Obviously I cut down a lot of the heavy, the heavy fats and the carbs. But yeah, I'd say walking was my number one tool for losing weight.
So, okay, talk about the diet a little more specific. How are you able to eat so much food, bro? Because for me, the hardest thing that I've ever dealt with as far as just like maintaining strength or gaining strength or getting size is just literally eating enough food. Because, and I know I hear this from people all the time. They're always like, I eat enough food, I never gain weight. I know why that's happening. If that happens to me, is because I'm just not eating enough food. That's the answer. Because I'm not. And I always tell people, okay, are you actually tracking it? Are you actually eating enough food? And 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, people just aren't eating enough food. But how do you physically, because I've done some things where like, I'm like chewing it as much as I can, then I'm like swallowing it with water, or I'm like finishing my meal with like a shot of like extra virgin olive oil, like just to get extra calories in. Like, how do you force the calories? Because you're not a giant, you are a giant dude, but you're not the giant dude who needs to eat a bazillion calories. But I know you've done it.
So I'd say my diet was a 70-30 split, and that makes it so much easier. So 70% would be, like meat, carbs, vegetables, like quite healthy foods. And then it'd be like 70% healthy, 30% cheesecake.
Oh, I love cheesecake.
And that's the secret, man. Just if you want to get huge, you want to put weight on, you want to get massive, just eat. It's simple as that. Just cheesecake.
Shout out America, huh? That's easy over here. It's so funny. Just have the American diet.
But
so crazy.
You're completely right though. Like, I've been doing a few like transformation things with some people here in the UK. And we're trying to, like, for instance, there was one kid who was really skinny. He was like 100 pounds, 6 foot tall, 100 pounds, really skinny. And we're putting him on this diet. And every week he's not putting any weight on. They're like, are you eating all the food? Are you having your protein shakes? He's like, yeah. I promise. A month later, and I'm like, right, okay. So you promised me you're having your food, you have your protein shakes. He's like, yeah, I promise. I just can't put weight on. It's my metabolism. I goes, give me that tub of protein. Give it here. Still half full. So I was like, you're full of shit. So I was like, you're meant to be having 3 protein shakes a day. So that tub should only last you 10 days. And here we are, a month on, and you've still got half a tub left.
What was his answer?
You're full of shit.
What was his answer?
Just, well, maybe I'm not taking the protein shakes. And it's like, I think this is the problem with people, is they convince themselves that they're eating enough. Like, I am eating enough, but they're not. Like, they just never want to push themselves out of that comfort zone. And that's what it is, essentially. Yeah. You've got to push yourself out of that comfort zone to gain weight, to lose weight, to get muscle, to do anything in life. You've got to push yourself out of that comfort zone. And people just get so comfortable in that little bubble that they don't want to budge. They've done it for years and years.
Let's talk about that specifically. How, because clearly you've been able to figure that out on your own, like how to really, like, you push yourself to the limits of like in physically, to be able to lift the weights that you've lifted, to be able to do all the things that you've done. I mean, the fighting stuff, like in these random sports, fighting random people, like, but specifically the strongman stuff, like you've been willing to kind of just say, fuck it and go all out. How do you tell someone or how do you encourage someone who, they're just hitting that wall, and because of the comfortability, they're not going forward? How do you encourage that person to like how do they find what it takes, or do they just not have it?
I think it's got to be within their DNA. I really do. They've got to want it. Like, I mean, I'll use myself as an example, because that deadlift world record, like when I broke it, when I did the 462 kilo, I sort of put it out there, like, I'm going to deadlift 500 kilo next year. And everyone laughed at me. Like, and I mean, absolutely everyone, promoters, strongmen, the fans, the forums, everyone was like, this guy's a deluded idiot. And it was just like everyone sets limits, and it's like, why is everything like, why is it deemed impossible? It's only impossible because people aren't willing to push themselves to go to those extremes to do what they do. And I guess for me, that was like, I love that scenario in my head. It's like people saying you can't do something. And that made me thrive. You know, it was almost like using the haters as, I don't know if they're not haters, but using the doubters as fuel to the fire. And it just really made me ramp up and be like, right, fuck you. I'm going to prove everyone wrong, push my absolute limits. I ate until I was nearly sick. I slept my 8 hours. I spent thousands of pounds worth on recovery and recovery equipment. You know, I did my 5 hours training a night. I did my cardio. I slept in a hyperbaric chamber. I did all these things. Like I committed my life to being the strongest man on the planet just to prove those wrong. So, you know, I just pushed myself to the limit because I wanted to. So I wanted to better myself and I wanted to, you know, prove what the human body can do. And that is in me, you know, and some people just haven't got that. Some people just can't, you know, they say, like, for instance, you could probably deadlift 500 kilo if you absolutely dedicated your life to it, gave it absolutely everything you got for say 5 years, you could probably do it. But there's that inner, and I always call it the inner. It's the inner. It's like, oh no, I can't. I'm not even going to bother. So they don't.
And then you just don't get started. You don't stack.
Yeah.
You don't stack. Yeah. It's funny you said though. Obviously, this thing that I did that I'm about to explain is not as sick as a 500 kilo deadlift. But I remember in my career, anytime I was filming something like videos that was like kind of crazy, and like I would have the peanut gallery of people in the gym who would be like, "That's probably not a good idea." I'll never forget. I did the squat on the hoverboard, and before I did the squat on the hoverboard, the 300 pounds on the hoverboard at barbell. My buddy, who was my videographer at the time, was like, yeah, like, because we've done stupid, crazy things. And he was like, I think this is a really bad idea and you shouldn't do it. And he like tried to level with me. And I remember being like, that's exactly why I need to do it. And then it's viral. I'm not saying someone needs to go do some crazy like that, but I'll never forget like that exact mentality that you described is exactly why I did a lot of things that I did. And then whenever I felt that resistance or someone was like really like, hey, this is a really bad idea, or that's kind of crazy, or don't do it. It was always the thing that did the best, did the most viral. Yes. It's on ESPN. It's all over the world. Yeah. And yeah, there is something to that. Like, oh, that's why I'm going to do it then. When someone thinks you can or you shouldn't, or that's kind of stay away from it.
Prove you're in it wrong and everyone else is in it wrong. It's a bit like Jackass, that, isn't it? Like Jackass would do things that you'd be like, oh, I wouldn't do that. And Jackass is like, watch this.
Yeah, this is like one thing I want to do. It's funny you mentioned Jackass, but I want to ride a bull.
I want to ride a bull.
Yeah, I want to try like a bucket list so bad. I wanted to ride a bull.
Like one of the proper Bronco, like when you go to a bull riding thing where they try and kick the cowboy off.
Yeah, like obviously I'm going to start like, because I know these people who own this, like, this is not the bull I'm going to ride. I'm not going to start with this bull. It's like professionals aren't able to ride this bull. It's like 1,000-pound bull that like no one could ride for like 8 seconds. I'm not saying that's the bull I want to ride, but I want to start somewhere. I want to start with the smaller bull, and I just want to see what it's like. Because obviously, you know, it's hard as. I mean, there's no way we could say anyone could say this is easy. But I don't know how hard it is because I've never done it, so I don't have a reference point.
That does sound insane. Yeah, my inner wouldn't let me do that because I know I'd get a horn in my eyeball.
I know, but I just gotta try. I want to know what it's like for at least however many seconds. I'm not saying 1,000-pound bull. But the other bulls that are like the level up bulls, I want to figure out. I just want to know what it's like. I want to know what it's like so bad. Well, so I'm going to ride a bull. My buddy has a bull. He has like a bunch of bulls. He owns like this whole, they own this whole, I guess, arena of like horses and bulls. And I'm going to go try it. I'm going to film it.
Well, I've 100% watched that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like, I'm going to film this riding a bull, dude. I just think it's like, it is exactly one of those things. I'm like, I just kind of want to try this. I want to experience it. Is there anything that you still really want to do that's like crazy? All right, guys, quick interruption for the podcast. VersaGrips, check this out. If you guys have been looking for hand grips, or if you use like the wrist straps, whatever it is, there's tons of different versions of this stuff. VersaGrips has been around like honestly since I first started training. I remember it was probably one of the first products that I noticed. I was like, this is actually a good product. Super, super high quality. But basically what it is it's a strap that hooks on your wrist essentially with a nice, like solid Velcro. It gives you like a strong material, like a rubber feel that can wrap around the bar so that when you're hitting back, I mean, I've even done it wrapping around the bar and I'm hitting chest, but it allows you to think less about your grip. And when it comes to like bodybuilding and building muscle, as far as creating like a strong mind muscle connection or just getting the most out of that workout, a lot of times if you grip super hard on the barbell, when you're doing like rows or movements like pull-ups, etc., you're engaging a lot more of like your front delt. So your body's ability to develop your back properly is hard for so many reasons, because number one, you can't see it, so it's harder to get a full contraction. But certain grips like this one, the Versa grip, allows you to like wrap the bar and almost just like hold instead of squeeze really tight with your hand, so that you can get the most out of your back and your back muscles when you're working, even curls essentially. But Versa grips is a really good tool that allows you to get the most out of your back workouts, bicep workouts. Like I said, even I've done it for chest. So give it a shot right now. Go to versagrips.com, put in Bradley 15 to get 15% off. I'm assuming the entire order, but give it a shot. Check it out. Some of the best grips on the market. Let's get back into this podcast.
Ooh, I mean, I really want to try skydiving.
Yeah, that, bro.
But that's scary as. And
You're too big for that.
I know, I'm too big. This is what I keep being told. But apparently, if I lose 9 kilo, I can do it. They legally let me do it. You can weigh 149.9 kilo, and they'd let you do it.
Nah,
that part of me is like
the fact that you're on this like level of you could just do it makes me be like, nah, bro. Nah. That's why I don't want to. I feel like it'd have to be double under the limit. I don't want to be on the limit.
No, I have to be on the limit. Yeah, 100%. But but it's stuff like that, you know, it's just like scares me shitless. But I guess that's why I want to do it.
Yeah. Is there anything in your career or like strongman wise or weightlifting wise that you wish you had done?
I mean, there's probably quite a lot. If I could go back in time, I wish I'd done it. The world log press, world record. I mean, I attempted that with a snapped ankle. Got it above my head, couldn't lock it out. And half of me wishes I just went for it one more time just to get it. But at the time, you just mentally had to sort of withdraw from strongman. It's like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But that's probably one of my biggest regrets, is not having the log press world record at some point in my career.
Yeah. Oh man. I would hate, because you were like, I'm trying to think. Like, if I think of the top 5 strongmen, I feel like of all time, I feel like you're up there. Would you say so?
I would say so, but just because of the static strength that I had, and I think the 500 kilos solidified that notion. You know, it just opened up everyone's eyes as to what is actually possible in the world. And you know, I get a lot for like people sort of saying, "Oh, once and done," and you know, you won it and retired. And I'm like, other than winning it 6 times, I had no interest. So like, there's loads of people that have won it once, won it twice, won it 4 times. Well, there's only a few won it 4 times, but there's only one that's won it 5, and that's Mariusz Podnoski. So unless I was going to go for 6, I was like, I'm not interested, because I'll just be another number. Well, I'm not doing anything special.
Yeah, I get it.
So for me, like, the 500 kilo was something special. The world's strongest man gave me the name, and the 500 kilo cemented me in history. That's how I see it.
I agree 100%, because I remember seeing that and being like, what the no one's done this. And then everyone starts like doing it.
Yes. Know? Oh, everyone can do it now, apparently. It's like common. It's like such a normal conversation now, the 500 kilo. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But okay, so beyond that side, but aren't you somewhat, like, I don't know how much social media stuff you watch, but have you noticed that because like people have seen you, or people have seen other strongmen or other influencers or creators, people like do cool that like way more people are doing the same things just because they've seen it done? Like, you notice how like there wasn't as many examples as when we were kids of people who did it. There was a few, very few. Now it's like, it's almost like everyone can do it because everyone's seen other people do it.
Yeah. I think the best example I ever heard was Roger Bannister. He was a British guy, and he said he was going to run a mile in under 4 minutes. And the same as me. Everyone laughed at him. Everyone called him an idiot. Everyone said he was a dickhead. And he ran a mile in 4 minutes. Within 2 years, I think it was something like 18 people had run a mile in under 4 minutes 2 years after him.
Yeah.
But up until he did it, it was impossible. And then it's like a normal thing now. Like you hear people running a mile in 4 minutes. It's oh, that's nice. It's just so normal.
Yeah. It's crazy how that worked. The internet's really changed this whole like fitness space and just like goals in general and what people think is possible.
Yeah. No,
but I think it's also created like a weird, like a fake kind of a fake victory for a lot of people in a sense. Like a lot of people not doing things is fake and you win or you get those accomplishments and it's fake. But I think like we're kind of talking about things not being so real or like some things not being what it seems. And then people kind of like, I don't know, maybe put on a sort of facade to look a certain way when they're not really a certain way.
Because it goes on all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think that happens a lot more now because also like this sort of, I don't know if it's a social pressure or the social media pressure of like, I have to appear or look a certain way, or I have to like show myself in a certain light or whatever it is, be doing a certain thing. I think that's also like a weird thing that's like kind of people up mentally.
Oh no, 100%. I mean, it's literally coming into legislation, I think, pretty soon that if you're under 16, you can't have social media accounts. I think they brought it in some countries. New Zealand, I think, is one to start it because it's been proven to cause so many mental health problems in young teenagers. Straight because they're not getting enough likes, they're not getting enough attention. Like if they don't get enough likes on a post, like they're suicidal. You know, it's literally made us that pathetic that if you don't get enough likes on a post, people are actually going and, you know, doing things that hurting themselves or worse.
That's nuts, man. Like it's honestly like if that is that you've read that somewhere that you know that that's true.
Yeah, I know that's true. Yeah, I've seen it. And I've had friends, kids that have like literally full on in hands, like can't control themselves because they're not, you know, social media is not going their way or not getting enough likes on a post. So it's nuts, man. Like I really do feel sorry for our younger generation. Like they are so glued to their iPads and phones. Like TikTok is reality. The world is the fake one.
Yeah, bro. The world is it's getting nuts, man. I don't know. Like, does that ever? Because like your son, how old is your son?
My son's 12, and he doesn't really bother with it. So I run his YouTube channel. I edit it up and put his videos up, and he won't even look at it. He'll watch the video, but then he's like, "Oh, that's great." It's like, do you know how many views you've got? And he's like, "I don't care." And I'm like, so proud of him for that. And he doesn't bother with Instagram, doesn't bother with any social media platforms, just isn't interested. And I don't push anything on him. And I'm actually quite happy for him to stay off it. If I'm being honest.
You're not telling him to think or feel that way. Like you're not, hey, don't worry about it. He just doesn't.
He just doesn't. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Honestly, I think he's seen me go through a lot with social media. You get a lot of hate over the years. And I think, when we first started his YouTube, getting a hell of a lot horrible comments, especially till like when he started when he was 10, horrible comments. And he was reading, it was coming to me all upset. And then I said, mate, just use it as fuel, man. I said, you've got to understand that all these so-called haters and these people like bad-mouthing you and saying you shouldn't be training and say all this bollocks. I said, every comment, every view, every like, every dislike is just bringing you more money. Because my son earns more than his teacher off his YouTube. and it's like, mate, I said, that person that's giving you a load of then has just put money in your back pocket. And that's how he sees it now with his YouTube. He'll be like, hey, Dad, look at this dickhead. He's like, he said something bad and people are like all commenting. It's like, it's put money in my pocket. And I'm like, yes, mate, well done. So he gets it. He's that's 12 dope, man. Yeah.
So what are some of his goals? Does he like want to do what you've done?
Mac, I don't like to talk about goals with Max, especially in the gym aspect. Mainly because I just don't want to put pressure on him. There's already a ton of pressure on him because he's my son, because he's the world's strongest man's son. We go to the gym and people like in front of me say to, are you going to be the next world's strongest man? Are you going to deadlift 500 kilo? And he'd be like, yeah. And then afterwards, I'll go to him like, mate, what the f are you doing? You can't say that to a 12-year-old kid. Like, let him be a kid. Like, let him enjoy himself. And in the gym, we just train. Obviously, he trains to get strong, but he just enjoys himself. You know, and he goes to the gym to socialize, to hang out with me, to hang out with his coach. And he thoroughly enjoys it. He actually enjoys it more than his gaming. And that's all that matters to me. Like, if he wants to get into strongman, I'll be there for him. If he doesn't, I honestly couldn't care less. It's like, he's got to be his own person. Second you force anything on a kid is the second they don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's a fact. Did someone teach you that? Or how did you learn that the hard way?
So I've always wanted when we're swimming, no one pushed me from my swimming. I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, cycle down to the swimming baths, do a 2-hour session, cycle home, cycle to school, and then cycle back to the swimming baths at night. I used to do that every day. No one pushed me. And I guess that's why when I was on the GB junior squad, why I off, because people started telling me how to train, when to train, how much to train. I was like, this. And that's when I quit, because there's too much pressure on me.
Interesting. So maybe that you've obviously learned that, you pass that on, like as far as through your parenting, your son, you know that you don't need to push it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you think sometimes though you got to kind of push people? You don't think? I guess it depends on the age.
I think a little bit of pressure is okay, but like, there's been times where, we've been doing lifts in the gym and I'm like, Max, like you can go heavier than that. And we'll have a little argument about it. And sometimes he'll just look me dead in the eyes like, Dad, fuck off. And I'm like, okay, fine. But I think sometimes he will do the extra weight and he'll benefit from it. And then afterwards he'll be like, oh, I'm glad you made me do that. So that, there's been instances where it's worked. There's been instances where he told me to fuck off. But I've never actually ever forced him to do anything. And I can't say I have. I've never been forced to do anything in my life, really.
I get it. I mean, who's going to force you,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they tried to when you were younger and you're like, F this. And then you're like, I'm just going to get jacked. It's crazy.
That's why I got expelled from school. I just didn't like people telling me what to do.
I think there's just certain people are just wired that way. And I think that it goes into everything you have and everything you are. It's just like, there's just certain people that way, man.
Yeah.
And it's like it could be a good thing, could be a really bad thing. I guess it depends where you put your energy. Good thing you put it to the gym and not some other dumb.
Yeah, I think people that bend over and do what they're told all the time will just, I don't like calling them sheep, but they're the people that will work a job 9 to 5 until they're 65, retire, and then die at 70. Those are the people that do what they're told.
And I think meanwhile, not liking it the whole time and knowing that they don't like it, but not willing to do something to change it.
Yeah. My dad, I use my dad in these examples because he's my dad. I can talk about my dad this way. Well, my dad worked in a factory for best part over 40 years. Absolutely hated his job. Absolutely hated it. Did it for 40 years. Now he's living off a pension. And he says to me, it's been wank. It's absolutely been wank. But he's like, I did it. I had to support you guys. And I'm super thankful he did. But I grew up with a man in the house that wasn't happy. And you could see he wasn't happy. He hated his job. Hated it.
Yeah. Man, he had to walk so your ass could run, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you pay it back to him now,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What else are you super passionate? Is there anything that people wouldn't know about you? Or do you share it all online?
Anyone doesn't know about me, geez. I mean, I think there's this persona of being a strong man and doing fighting, whatever. You get this persona of just being this, hard man and wanting to be in the aggressor and everything all the time. But honestly, like, I just love spending time with my kids. Just like lighting a fire in the garden, just sitting around a fire, just listening to country music, smoking a cigar, just relaxing, man.
You sound like me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just chilling. I'm a big advocate for like get your work done, and then just fucking relax.
Yeah.
Like, spend time with your family.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just working on figuring that out myself. Family part, the relaxing part, I get. I could do that. What do you have coming up that you're really excited about? Anything content wise or career wise?
I'm arm wrestling Brian Shaw. I think December the 14th.
Bro, you're gonna snap your.
Yeah.
Have you been training? Obviously,
I've had to. Yeah, no. I think come the show, I've been there had 8 weeks training, and Brian's been doing it a year.
Oh, man.
I know. No, it just sort of had this opportunity come up, and I rung Brian up. I was like, "Do you want to do it?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Sake, okay, here we go then." So I've been doing my fight training, doing my weights, and I've been doing my arm wrestling training as well. So that's coming up.
Bro, arm wrestling is just one of those sports that, like, if you do not practice, I mean, obviously you've been training. I'm not taking that away, but I'll have kids sometimes will pull up to me at the gym and be like, arm wrestle me. And I'm like, do you arm wrestle? They'll be like, yeah, for like 6 years. And I'm like, no, I am not going to fucking arm wrestle you. Because, dude, I've arm wrestled like twice, just randomly hurt myself both times. Like,
yeah.
It's one of the most dangerous things to do if you don't know what you're doing.
100%. I've seen so many people snap their arms.
Yeah,
Witnessed it with my own eyes. It's horrendous. Yeah.
So you think you're going to beat Brian on that?
I'm going to have a go. You know, I'm gonna go and give it a good shot. That's all I can do. As you say, my main training at the minute is just being safe. You know, just making sure I'm in those safe positions. And the second anything's compromised, like my coach is like, right, let it go. And I think that's how I've got to be. So just give it me all, but I'm not going to hurt myself.
Yeah, those are terrible injuries, bro. People snap their arms. Anything else? But I'm actually really. When is that happening? I'm 100% watching that.
December the 14th. We haven't got the venue yet, but it's going to be in America somewhere. Yeah.
Definitely watching that, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I guess pretty close to signing the contract. Well, I should have a contract soon to fight Mariusz Podnoski. That should be, I'm going to say, end of Feb onwards, so maybe March, something like that time.
Yeah.
So obviously training for that starts pretty much now. Like go in camp now, ready for that. And then other than that, it's just I got a few films and movies going on. Big one coming out next year, The Awakening. Got some good actors in that. I've got quite a nice decent part in that. Doing a film with Mel Gibson and Russell Crowe.
Oh, what the?
Yeah.
Whoa, legend! Like, what is that? What's that film?
The Lost Book of Creation. So it's a bit like hard to describe it, like an Indiana Jones, James Bondy film. And I'm Russell Crowe's henchman for the whole film, like start to finish. So I'm like,
oh damn, that
sounds like loads of screen time. Yeah.
Damn, congrats, bro. That sounds huge.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
What the? That's how Russell. You're talking about the fucking Russell Crowe and
Gladiator,
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, damn, bro, you like a movie star now.
Yeah. That's what I want to get into now. Just it's more, it's easier. I enjoy it, like being on the set, just being yourself. You know, I mean, that's what I've really thrived on camera is just letting my inner self just come out, just not faking anything, and it's working.
It's so funny how you say being yourself in your role as a henchman.
Yeah. Honestly,
and then 3 minutes ago you were like, I like to go in the garden with my kids.
No, it was like there's one scene in this the Awakening film where we do a fight scene, and some of it I was doing, I'd like thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, right, you got to punch this TV, but what we're going to do is we're going to get the stunt double to come in tomorrow to punch the TV. So I'm like, right, okay, fine. So we started filming. First take, put my fist straight through this TV, literally straight through the screen, bulged out the back and put a hole in the plaster behind the TV. So proud of myself. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, yeah, but that's going to look the bollocks on camera, innit? And they're like, yeah, okay, fair enough. And that's just me being me. You know? It's like, God.
You're like, this stunt guy, bang. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's sick. Not that you need me to be proud of you, but that's cool. That's really cool, man. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks.
Well, dude, I appreciate your time. Thank you for doing this. If you have any questions for me, to shoot away, or if you ever need me, always hit me up because I appreciate you doing this, man, for real.
Yeah, no problem. I'll perhaps hit you up for a podcast on. I'm starting a podcast soon, so I'll probably hit you up the other way, and we'll do something then.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Anytime. And when you're next time you're in LA or the States at all, or if I'm in the UK, I want to do a training video with you for sure.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good, man.
Cool, brother. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, man.
All right, Bradley. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. If you need anything from me, hit me.
Cheers, bro. Take care, man.
Brother. See you.
Thanks. Bye.